Derby County scouts have been spotted on a European mission. Now, for Derby County, they look as if they're going to potentially be heading back down to League One over the course of the next few months. But is a European scouting mission exactly what we need? Now, the Sports Witness has reported that a Derby County scout was spotted at a game in Germany, but they wouldn't tell them which players they were potentially looking at, which is obvious. No scout is going to let you in to those pieces of information. Now, obviously, when we talk about Derby County and we talk about what we're going to do in the summer transfer window and things like that, we have to acknowledge that right now they'll be putting lists together for both scenarios. They'll be putting a list together for the Championship, a list together for League One. So whoever they've gone to look at in Germany right now, maybe someone who we end up not even going after. And that is a conversation which has to be had. Now, obviously, when we talk about Derby County's transfers over the course of the last few months, and it's something which I'm going to do a video on over the course of the next few weeks, is it's not been good enough, has it? And that is the problem that we find within ourselves. But what has the problem been? Is it the players? Obviously, you look at Salvesen, you look at Sondre, Langas, you look at Zetterstrom, you look at, obviously, Kenzo Goudmijn, all coming in from abroad. And are those bad deals that we've done? I don't necessarily believe they're bad deals. I just think we've brought them into a bad environment. Zetterstrom was brilliant for the first half-ish of the season. Kenzo has had really good games as well, but I've spoke about it a lot on Twitter. I put a tweet out the other day about Kenzo Goudmijn, actually, talking about his heat map and the fact that he spends most of his time at right back. And that is what is seen by the heat map. And that is the problem we find, is that the players that we've brought in, whether it be from British leagues or whether it be from European leagues, it's just that we don't quite have the right system in place, the right way of playing to get the most out of them. Kenzo Goudmijn came into Derby County as more of a deeper lying 8 midfielder. He's not a sitting midfielder, of course, but he's also not a attacking midfielder. But we've played him out on the left. We've played him in a holding midfield role with no one else with him. We've not really played him in that 8 role. And yes, if you go and look at his numbers on like Transfer Market or SofaScore or something like that, they'll all tell you that he's been playing centrally. But if you look at the heat map for his games, you can completely tell that is not where he's been playing. And that is the problem that we find. Now, can a player like Kenzo Goudmijn improve Derby County? Yes, in the right position. Now, when we talk about players coming in from abroad, yes, they have to have a breathing period where they can improve and things like that. But they also have to be put into a system where they're going to be playing to their strengths. And that's something which I think Derby County have had a massive problem with over the course of not just this season, but also in previous seasons. You look at, obviously, when we first came out of administration, Jason Knight was our right back because we failed to recruit a right back during that window, which you can give the benefit of the doubt for. Then you head on towards the second half of the season. Under Paul Warne, who's had a transfer window, we end up with Corey Smith playing at right back. And again, it's a square peg in a round hole. And they're players from internally. Like Jason Knight came from Derby's academy. Corey Smith came from another English club. And I'm not saying they struggled in their position. I think both players were good enough to play their role. But when you put a player who's learning a different league, learning a different size of physicality, and then you're putting them in positions that they're maybe not comfortable with, I think it causes and raises some major eyebrows and causes some major problems. Now, can Derby County secure talent from abroad for cheaper than they can from the English leagues? In my opinion, absolutely. I think it shows with the Cashin and Langas deal. Is Langas as good as Cashin? That's up for debate at the moment. But Cashin was sold for what? Nearly £11 million. If you put add-ons in, it's probably upwards of 12. And we bought Langas in for 4.5. Now, I think we did the wrong thing bringing Langas in for 4.5 million, but that's a completely different topic. And they've both done similar things for Derby County. Neither have the ability to stop us losing games or win us games, but both are good enough to make an impact. And the thing is, I don't have a problem with Derby County searching abroad. I will never have a problem with that, because I do believe that there's some really, really good talent abroad. Now, the big question will be is, what's our budget going to be in League One if we're to go down? Obviously, you would have seen earlier today, I dropped a video talking about potentially preparing for League One and how I believe that to be an important matter for Derby County. I also put a tweet out last night talking about what team I'd select at the weekend, because it's all right looking at these players abroad and potentially signing these players, but the issue you then find is that Derby County just don't have the talent within the squad to then sort of help those younger players coming in. Now, I'll just tell you the team that I put out over on Twitter. So the team was Zetterstrom in goal, Niambi, Rooney, Langas and Elder at the back, Armstrong and Adams in midfield, Mendes Lang on the right, Allen and Wilden as your 10 and left, and then Roof up front with Turley, Robinson and Eames on the bench. Now, a lot of people will turn around and say that he sort of, that would work. A lot of people say that it won't. Now, at the end of the day, we've lost a ton of games this year, and we're going to continue to lose games, in my opinion. Like, I can't see a way out of it at the current moment in time. And obviously, these scouting missions are a positive. Looking at potential transfers for the summer, it's all a positive. But how much can you actually do and prepare right now for a summer window when we don't know where we're going to be? Like, that's why I made that video this morning talking about potentially preparing for League One, because yes, you've had other managers go in at other clubs and go, well, we're not going down, we're staying up, but we can't do that because we don't have a caliber of player that can carry us through games. And I just think if we don't win on Saturday, I think it's I'm not going to say like it's game over, but it certainly isn't a good look for Derby County, and that's something which obviously will need to be discussed internally. Now, it's one of those things which is always going to need to be discussed over the course of a season and over the course of everything, really, because when you bring in the wrong players, you make the wrong signings, you then play them in the wrong positions, or their roles dictate that they're in the wrong places, then that falls on management, it falls on the coaches, it falls on the tactics, it falls on everything like that. Or maybe it just falls on the fact that when we looked at said player, we thought they were completely different to what they were. And that then falls on those people in charge of the recruitment and the analysis and the data analysis and things like that at Derby County. Now, who is to blame and who is going to be able to help Derby move forward? I don't have the answers to that question. I personally believe we need a takeover and clean sweep of basically all the backroom staff. Not necessarily the recruitment team, because I don't believe they're the problem. I believe the problem is above them. They can only do so much. It's what's above them that sort of dictates who we sign and why we sign them and things like that. And that's what I think the problem is with Derby County at the moment. Now, a scouting trip to Europe, could it wield some good results? You can obviously let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you have not done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, you turn on that notification bell, and I'll catch you in my next video.